Venezuela and Aruba talks about reopening the refinery. Plus, in today's lifestyle segment, a video game that helps kids to learn about cancer. And the Electric Festival is this weekend. The event goes beyond music and partying, but it helps to redefine the island's tourism. 15 on 15 starts right now.
Hi everyone, I'm Yentl. Venezuela and Aruba may be closing in on a partnership and agreement on reopening the refinery in the future.
The Venezuela consul in Aruba, Jesus Javier Arias, says the refinery affords us a platform for both countries to work together on the matter of energy. He also commented that sooner or later the topic of energy between Venezuela and Aruba will make for an energetic union. Petroleus Venezuela SA, also known as PDSVA, brought over a commission last week to meet with Valero representatives to discuss the possibility of reopening. How they would operate the refinery was the primary purpose of the meeting. Technically speaking, experts in petroleum and refining have to approve and give a positive advance to the Venezuelan consul. Both parties, the Venezuelan and Aruban government, are interested in reaching an agreement to work together to have regular operations resume at the San Nicolas refinery.
In other developments, city inspectors took action on Tuesday to clear addicts from the area across the street from Kowloon restaurant. Take a look.
For a long time, business owners filed a complaint of the addicts roaming around the abandoned building in Orangestad across from Kowloon restaurant. A petition was made to the government regarding these homeless. On Tuesday, city inspectors began blocking windows and doorways of the vacant building in which many of the addicts lived in. Store owners in the area are relieved that after such a long time, something has been done. City inspectors encourages property owners to intensify security and to eliminate ways for addicts to have the access to go into empty buildings.
A political event is being organized exclusively for women. The spotlight will be on the female candidates running in this year's election, and the audience will be female voters only. The objective here is to see how these policymakers will try to change things in favor for women in the workforce.
Organizers of the Women for Women Supporting Women in Politics event says this platform will give female voters a chance to see how some of these women will represent the female politician once they are elected into office.
We're putting the spotlight on, the percentage of women on the list, it's about 25%. So of all the lists that have been handed in, it's about 25%. So we're saying it's 25%. If we want to increase that, who are these women that are stepping forward, that are leaning in and saying, you know what, I'm going to want to serve. We want to know who they are. What do they stand for? We want to support them. Are they supporting issues that are important? Are they supporting equal pay?
Joyce says we are in the 21st century and still the women of today are struggling with the same issues we had 30 years ago. Equal pay should be a priority for any female policymaker. They need to fight for change.
And I just got confirmation this morning that it's still a fact that men earn 25% more than women. It hasn't changed. So the same issues that were important 20, 30, 100 years ago, they're still there. So if a woman is going to represent my vote in government, what is she going to do about the fact that women still earn 25% less? A very one aspect only, I'm saying, but there are many more. So with this event, we're saying shine the spotlight individually on all these 31 women who are stepping up. Who are they? Why are they in politics? What do they stand for? What would they do to bring forward those issues that are important to the female voters?
The event will look at the candidates as individuals rather than from which party they are from.
We also want to stand above the color of the party. This is about the women. Second, they're part of a political organization, but it's about what they believe in and what they're going to do should they represent us in government.
The event is set to take place Friday, September 13th at the Renaissance Convention Center starting at 5 p.m. Tickets are 75 florins each. Reserve your spot at www.womeninbusinessaruba.com. When children are diagnosed with cancer, oftentimes they aren't able to grasp how they can fight this battle and defeat it. A new video game is designed to help young people learn about cancer.
This may look like a standard video game, but it is actually helping kids as they face the fight of their life. A non-profit company called Hope Lab developed a series of free online games known as Remission 2. The goal is to use technology to improve health. Each game allows players into the human body to fight cancer with a variety of weapons, from antibiotics to chemotherapy and the body's natural defenses as well. Patients can use chemo blasters to kill off the bad cells. In a study, researchers found children felt greater control over their illness. They were more likely to stick to their chemotherapy if they played this game.
Switching gears, there are too many things we love that is not good for us if we overdo it. For instance, there's dessert, the sun, and you name it. But if you love to dance, I've got good news for you. Those who like to bust a move are significantly more likely to report good health than those who don't. In a Scottish study, people who danced for fun even just one time in the past year were 62% more likely to report being in good health. Keep in mind, this study was purely observational, so it doesn't prove cause and effect. Researchers cannot conclude whether people who dance are healthier or whether healthier people are able to dance. Dancing can strengthen your heart and other muscles as well as improve your balance. On a completely different note, let's talk about Craigslist for a minute. You can pretty much sell or buy strange things on Craigslist, but women in the States are taking this to a whole new evil. Expecting mothers are selling their positive pregnancy test sticks, giving buyers a chance to pull a prank or even worse.
Women in the United States are turning to Craigslist to earn a few extra bucks. But what they are selling sure is controversial. A quick search on Craigslist in several cities will tell you expectant mothers are hoping to cash in on their condition by selling positive pregnancy tests to anyone who is willing to pay up. Some say it is just to be used as a prank, but others say they don't care what it is used for, which causes the problem. For example, if a married man is having an affair and then tries to break it off, the woman can show the pregnancy test and demand for money, or else she will tell the spouse. This is considered as a level of blackmail. These fake sticks could encourage women to trick a man into marrying them or keeping a partner in a relationship in which they don't want any part of.
Personally speaking, I think even if it is just a prank, it plays with people's emotions. So all around, it's just a bad idea. The Electric Festival is this weekend. International artists are expected, but besides for good music and a good crowd, it is also very good for tourism. This September's event is only a preview of better things to come.
The stage is being set on Nikki Beach. This coming weekend is a launch. It is not considered the first edition of the Electric Festival. Reason being, this year is only a small show compared to what is to come. The Electric Festival is already garnering international recognition. The event is attracting tourists over.
As of now, the association with One Tickets that the Electric Festival has established has resulted in a significant amount of international ticket sales. Close to 1,700 tickets have been sold internationally, which is good for a first-year event. And we are still expecting a lot more to come in once people come on island and buy those tickets while they're here.
The goal of the Electric Festival is not profit, but PR. Aruba has plenty of international press on board to join the party this weekend, but in the coming years, ATA is hoping for even more.
As you may know, for the launch of this event, what is most important to us is the actual press around this and surrounding this, and the distribution of information and whatever PR we can garner from this event. So what we've done is ATA has brought in a couple of press. However, the festival itself has attracted over 50 press members as well. We have press members from E! Entertainment Latin America. We've got press members such as CNN Chile as well, and many more from the Netherlands, US, Venezuela, and Colombia at this point. So that is really our main focus, to make sure that the press program is complete, is A1, and that we're able to garner that exposure for Aruba.
There's more to the Electric Festival than meets the eye. It goes beyond fist-pumping music and a party scene. Aruba needs a new fleet of loyal visitors. We need to maintain the island's repeat visitor rate. What better way to do this than to start young?
This will also put Aruba in a different light internationally. It will allow for Aruba to be displayed and shown and showcased as a destination for a little bit younger generation, meaning a Generation Y, which is not necessarily teenagers. We're talking about young professionals, young couples, people who are looking for a vacation destination that may capture their interest. So we're hoping to also reach that target audience with this event.
The Electric Festival is taking place this weekend on all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. More than 20 artists are expected. That is our show for today. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here at the same time tomorrow, right here on Channel 15 ATV. So we'll see you then.